Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. You won't believe what's about to go down in Port Charles on September 11th. Tension is riding high. Michael is under the microscope. Drew's vendetta is heating up. Loyalties will be tested. Secrets might finally crack. If you thought things couldn't get more tangled, think again. It all begins with Nina Reeves. She's nudging Lulu Spencer, whispering advice, pushing her gently toward decisions that may hurt as much as help. Nina's urging Lulu to see things from Jack's perspective, that Charlotte should be allowed to visit Valentine. That means maybe Lulu will be convinced to let Charlotte travel to Steinmauer, to that prison location. Yes, Steinmauer, where some of Port Charles's darkest demons are housed. If Charlotte is permitted to go, whether or not Lulu feels comfortable, the emotional and psychological stakes are enormous. Nina's not doing this out of motherly innocence. She's doing Jack's bidding. And that means there's strategic calculation behind every word, behind every suggestion. Meanwhile, Drew Kane's anger has firmed into resolve. He's not cooling off. He's sharpening his vendetta. To Carly and Willow, he delivers a chilling message. Michael hasn't been arrested for my shooting yet. He will be. Whether Michael is guilty or not, Drew is positioning himself to make sure the town believes he is. He's planting seeds of accusation, watching for the soil to be fertile. Whether those seeds sprout into truth or destruction is hazy, but Drew doesn't seem to care. He wants consequences. He wants Michael to pay. And he wants the world to see Michael as the culprit. Dante Falconeri enters the frame, pressing Michael on uncomfortable questions. One that stands out: were you really with that woman the night Drew was shot? It's a loaded question. Michael insists he has his story straight, his alibi is intact. Could there be proof or receipts? Possibly. But any slip, any vague answer, could give Dante indeed the authorities cause to doubt. Michael is walking a tightrope. One misstep and all that careful defense could unravel. Then there's Jason Morgan. He's always been someone you lean on when things break. This time, he's urging Britt to let him in, to trust him enough to share what she's hiding. Britt's return has already stirred things up. Jason sees that whatever she's keeping inside could have ripple effects across Port Charles. If Britt opens up, if she trusts Jason with everything, then maybe they can preempt some of the fallout. If she doesn't, well, secrets and silence have a habit of exploding in soap operas. Jack Brennan's influence is also behind some of the scenes. Nina is clearly acting under his direction. She's pushing Lulu, not just advising, but manipulating the narrative so that Jack's goals are served. Let Charlotte visit Valentine, yes, but also throw Lulu off balance. Make her question her own instincts. Let her feel guilt, responsibility, conflict. Port Charles is not a place where moral clarity wins. It's where power, perception, and leverage often decide outcomes. Nina knows that. Jack knows that. And they're playing from both sides. Let's dig deeper into what Drew's doing. His threat to have Michael arrested seems less about lawful justice and more about psychological warfare. It's about putting Michael on edge. It's about forcing him to defend more than just facts, forcing him to defend his reputation, his relationships. Even those closest to Michael, Willow, Carly, Dante, are going to feel the pressure. Because Drew will make sure they're looking too. And when people start looking, they start asking uncomfortably awkward questions. Michael must prepare for that. Every phone call, every late night, every move he makes will be under suspicion. On Nina and Lulu. At first glance, it seems like a parental concern Nina urging never seems entirely innocent, though. The phrase, "use it to your advantage," sticks out. Nina isn't just advising Lulu to do what feels right. She's advising Lulu to use the situation, perhaps publicly or strategically. Perhaps to shift public perception. Perhaps to weaken certain players. And Lulu, caught between motherly instincts, moral convictions, and Jack's requests, is going to have a difficult time making a decision she feels good about. Because whether she allows Charlotte's visit or not, someone will accuse her of weak leadership or worse, complicity. Back to Michael. Dante will keep pushing. The question of that alibi, who that woman was with Michael, may become more than just a question. Evidence might emerge. Maybe someone saw Michael someplace. Maybe phone logs, security footage, or even wallet receipts could be involved. Michael will be digging for proof. He may lean on people who might feel conflicted about testifying. Maybe Britt. Maybe someone else who knows more than they've said. Because truth in Port Charles is often shadowed by alliances, threats, and fear of fallout. And Michael knows that if he fails to solidify his story, Drew will exploit every crack. Now, for Bonnie Britt Westbourne, her return already looms large. What she's hiding is considered major. Jason's telling her, "Whatever you're hiding, no, you don't have to hide it from me." That's not just trust. That's a door opening. If Britt walks through it, if she reveals her secret, some alliances might strengthen. Jason might be able to protect not just her but others who become collateral damage. But if she closes that door, if she keeps hiding, then she may find herself isolated. And in Port Charles, isolated is dangerous. We should also notice the interplay between characters, how suspicion, guilt, duty, love, and fear collide. For example, Willow. How much of Drew's accusations affect her relationship with Michael? Will she believe Michael's version of events? Will she question what she knows or what she's been told? Because Drew is trying to sow doubt not only in law enforcement but in personal bonds. That tension between trust and betrayal is classic GH but always effective. Michael's not just defending himself in court of law, he's defending himself in the court of the heart. Another thread, the potential fallout from letting Charlotte visit Valentine. Since Valentine is imprisoned, possibly dangerous, with history of enemies and schemes, bringing Charlotte into that mix is risky. There are safety concerns, emotional concerns, psychological trauma. If something happens, Charlotte sees something she shouldn't, overhears something dangerous, or becomes entangled in a power play that may be leveraged later by villains or those seeking leverage. Nina, pushing for that scenario, suggests she wants Lulu to take risks that might open her up to blame, or open others up to establishing vulnerabilities. It's a chessboard move. More than just family. More than just visitation. Let's think about consequences. If Michael is arrested, or even if there's just credible suspicion, what happens to the Corinthos legacy? What happens to Willow, to his time with his kids, to his standing in Port Charles law enforcement eyes, to Sunny? Each of those is a piece Michael cannot afford to lose. Drew is betting Michael will crack somewhere. That he will be pulled in by emotional weight. Maybe rely too much on trust, or let someone in who he thinks is safe. Or maybe slip up in testimony. Drew, in doubling down, is revealing not just anger, but strategy. He's planting theories, encouraging Dante's investigations, possibly even leaking rumors. He wants the public and PCPD to see Michael as suspect. The intended result: pressure, isolation, fear. And when someone is under that much pressure, missteps happen. Words slip. Lies are uncovered. Or truths that were hidden voluntarily or involuntarily come out. Drew knows this. He doesn't need proof as much as he needs Michael's defenses to weaken. Because once they weaken, corruption, betrayal, secrets, they all pour out. Jason and Britt's arc. That return that shocks Port Charles, whatever Britt's secret is, it will intersect with all of this. It might be evidence, or might be emotional leverage. Jason feels Britt can trust him, but trust is earned in parts. If Britt reveals something that implicates someone Michael trusts, or someone who wants him exposed, it could shift alliances. Maybe Britt becomes a shield. Maybe she becomes a wedge. Her choice is key. I expect there will be scenes with heated confrontation. Dante questioning Michael in settings where Michael feels cornered. Maybe in PCPD offices, or near crime scene evidence. Maybe Willow pulled in for conversations that challenge her belief. Maybe Carly acting as moral center but caught between family loyalty and justice. Nina's whispers continuing, working behind doors, influencing decisions, changing minds. Each character making choices along moral lines, but also along lines of survival and power. In the end, the arc seems like this. Drew will press for Michael's arrest. Dante will either find holes in Michael's story or be satisfied momentarily, but something will irritate doubt. Britt's secret may either help or hurt Michael. Nina will continue to maneuver. Lulu will face consequences of her choice about Charlotte's visitation. Michael will need to produce firm proof to clear himself or somehow get people who believe in him to stay loyal in face of public suspicion. And one more thing, in Port Charles, there is always a risk that what someone hides becomes public in the worst way possible. Someone overhears. Someone leaks. Someone acts with betrayal. So Michael must account not only for the legal side, but for the personal vulnerabilities. Loved ones, friends, those who might be blackmailed or pressured. Because Drew isn't just targeting Michael's status, he's targeting his mind, his relationships, his peace. If you make someone question their safety, their truth, their trust, you take away more than just law. You take away the ground beneath them. So as September 11th's episode unfolds, watch for Dante's interrogation of Michael, especially about that night Drew was shot and who else was involved. Michael's efforts to produce or refute evidence who might have witnessed, what items may prove his alibi. How Willow responds, does she remain loyal or begin to entertain doubt? Britt's revelation, what she's hiding, why it matters, and who is impacted. Nina's influence on Lulu and Jack's planned Charlotte's visit could be pivotal. Drew's moves, public threats, legal threats, psychological games. The tipping point where Michael feels cornered enough to act perhaps preemptively, perhaps defensively, perhaps taking risks he wouldn't normally take. What's fascinating is that guilt and innocence in GH aren't always about truth, they're about perception. And perception is everything. Drew wants Michael seen as guilty. Michael must make sure not only that he isn't guilty, but that people believe he isn't. And that's harder. Expect commentary, drama, confrontation scenes that are electric. Dialogue that crackles. Moments of hesitation from Michael, from Willow, from Britt. Perhaps a betrayal or two. The fallout will ripple beyond this episode. So mark that date. Because September 11th is not going to be a quiet day in Port Charles. It might be the day where assumptions unravel, where Michael's defense is tested like never before, and where Drew's revenge may push everyone to the brink. Stay tuned. Because when the dust settles, we'll see who's still standing and who's lost more than they ever expected. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.